there, right? So guys, I'll just send you the link. Is this one here? I'll email everyone the link again. So you can jump to this link here and we'll go live on YouTube instead of the webinar system here. And the reason for this is because we are experiencing some issues with webinar. Okay. If you want to stay on the, let's see. All right, we're going to jump here. You can stay on this webinar. We will close down this page, but we'll also broadcast this live on the other page on YouTube Live. Okay. And what I'll do is I will go there and continue with the presentation there. Okay. I'm going to do this live on both platforms now because something is really wrong with the webinar system here. Okay, so Dr. Lau, are you ready to take on the screen? And yeah.
Yes, I'm ready, Ruben. Hello, can everyone hear me? All right. Anyway, let's get started. Okay. So thanks everyone for being on time, and yeah, sorry for the technical glitch. I mean, it always happens, right? That's why. Yeah, I think things happen. Scary things happen when you hit the deploy buttons, right? Okay. So tonight we're going to talk about how do you actually launch a coding career. So I actually talk about the skills and then what it takes to begin a coding career, give you some tips, and also introduce to you our full stack 360 certification, and with some special bonus, and also the whoever that stays till the end of the webinar session, you'll get all the source code templates, the slides and notes that I'm using here. And also for those of you who want to take it further and start building something, yeah, stay tuned. Okay, if not, you can use it as a guideline, as a signpost for you to learn more about what are the different components with the full stack developer. So for those of you who are your first time at our webinar here, this is Dr. Lau. So I'm currently a chief data scientist at iStream 360. So we build web-based enterprise analytics and cloud solutions for clients like Johor Corporations, KFC, Pizza Hut, MDEC, etc. Okay, I'm also the state advisor of Johor and Selangor State. And for their smart city and big data initiatives, I'm also the Microsoft Expert Excel World Champion, where we build analytic solutions for data tasks using Excel functions, VBA macros. And then I move on to work in Microsoft E-Research Center to build web portals to publish our results and share with researchers around Australia. So during my time at Magic, so some of you might have heard of Magic before, a startup accelerator funded by MOF last time. Now we park under Ministry of Entrepreneurship, I think, Entrepreneur Development, MED. And I founded their academy, curated business and technical programs that help entrepreneurs to validate their ideas, build products, and of course, accelerate their startups. I'm a HRDF certified trainer and also the expert panelist in MQA, mainly to certify IT and data science program from Malaysian universities like APU, Utah, UITM, etc. That's also where I conduct corporate trainings like FusionX, Intel, OCBC, help to train their engineers, especially like companies like that. They don't really use fancy stuff. They like to build things on their own or purchase very expensive software. So I help them to train the engineers to build their in-house web portals and of course dashboard. So the purpose of sharing all this achievement is to make sure that you understand where I'm coming from, my background, and to show you how important is the coding or programming, I would say, for everybody, including data scientists like us. So although I graduated with IT degree, but that is insufficient, right? That itself is insufficient to become a good developer because it takes me about 20 years of experience in software development, building products that leads me to become a good full stack developer. And eventually I become a CTO. So that's what I want to share with you today and help you to begin your journey. And of course, if any questions, you can type in the chat box. If not, send me an email if you're too shy to ask, Dr. at thelead.io or Ruben at thelead.io. We're here to help you and more than happy to get you to begin your journey. Okay, so who is this webinar for, right? For many of you who are thinking of to switch a career, I think this is for you because a lot of people, you don't really when you begin a career, you begin with what you study in the universities, but eventually you might have found that like this is not really for me. Or I'm looking for a career change. So this will be for you, right? How do you switch to a coding career? Because you need to understand the key components in the web development world. It's a fast moving, I won't call it industry, but just a fast-moving world, right? And I'll cover the key techniques to build web application. So if you're not interested before, because there are too many things and you hesitated, most importantly is you hesitated because you do not fully understand, this will be a great chance to learn. And of course, if you're somebody who are looking to look for some side income, whether you want to build websites for your friends or businesses, or looking to start your own online store, and this webinar will certainly help you to understand the terminologies and techniques that web developers are using, make it easier for you to start a side business. And if you're currently a developer, use this opportunity to refresh your understanding so that you can make a progression in your career. And of course, if you're a startup founders or business owner, you have a burning urge that you want to test it quickly, or you want to build just a website for your company or your shop, but then you don't know where to start, and everybody is quoting you a different price, and this will help you to get a clear idea about what are all these things about, and where does the money that you actually goes when you spend them, right? And also, of course, if anyone who's trying to get into coding, into web development, just want to learn more about how websites build, and this is for you too. So let's start with some fun stuff, right? Recently, everybody on the Facebook, Instagram, all my friends are crazy about the uh, the 10 years challenge. All right. So this is what it looks like. So we have Facebook, we have eBay, we have Airbnb, and we have Uber. On the left hand side is how they look like in 2009, and on the right hand side is how they look like today. Okay, so you look at Facebook, right? 2009, they look a bit like old school, really like high school projects. But that's how every website looks like. Today they are more futuristic and they're more advanced. And you realize that they use blue color because Mark Zuckerberg has a little bit of color blind between, I think, red and green color. So blue color is the one that he can really see well. So he loves everything to be in blue color. On the other hand, if you look at the right hand side, eBay looks like the old school Yahoo sort of stuff, and they used to be very structured, very messy, but the UI and UX trend has changed, and similarly, Airbnb and Uber, right, it has become a very slick product throughout the years. So what have changed in the past 10 years is, in terms of technologies, of course, there's a lot of improvement in terms of internet speed, HTML5, JavaScript, etc. But the core of what we use to build this website has remained unchanged. So the main thing that you need to learn here is, of course, to understand your user as a soft skill, but you have UI, UX, and HTML, CSS, JavaScript. These have not been changed at all. Okay, so let's take a look at my coding career. So how does coding actually helps me? Apart from it helps me to get a job in universities, like I never need to attend any coding related tutorial. I'm actually the tutor. So you hardly find anyone who is in their bachelor's, the second year, third year who are doing tutoring, but I can do that because I'm able to code, right? So many of you also aware of my data scientist background, but you didn't realize that there's, apart from that major part of my work, I actually do a lot of product development and full stack development in the past. I co-founded this company called Co-op or Plus and served as their CTO when I was in Australia. So Co-op is a social platform startup where people gather and manage their social projects. So I built the entire platform using ASP.NET, Microsoft SQL, and then deployed to Microsoft Azure. Okay. So next, the other startup I have built in Australia is Hero Boyfriend. Hero Boyfriend is a B2C e-commerce startups that's built using natural language processing engine and machine learning. So we use the NLP to build a chatbot to talk to users and find out the preferences of their girlfriends. And then we use machine learning to model these preferences to recommend them like movies and gift packages. So we remind lazy boyfriends when it comes to time to buy their girlfriends some presents. The entire service was built using JavaScript, and the front end that you saw actually using React Native, a hybrid mobile apps that allow us to build once and then you can run on both Android and iOS. I'll go through a bit in details later when it comes to the mobile applications part. So you realize that coding actually helped me to do a lot of things apart from getting a job at Microsoft, a part of building my own startups here. Okay, two startups in Australia. It helps me a lot in terms of building products. So apart from understanding what your users really want, you have a burning issues or you have a problem that you want to solve. This helps me to turn the ideas into reality so that I'm able to build stuff. So once you have learned coding, you have a couple of different career options, especially in Malaysia, right? So first of all, your first option will be work in a corporate. So this is something that most people are looking. So you might be currently working in a corporate, you might be currently working in a company. So you want to transfer to your another department of a company, but you actually build more digital products. Or in some of the cases, like my students, they from DRB Highcom or TMB, they they are expanding. So they have now like a data team, they have products team, so they have analytics team as well. So they have a lot of IoT devices out in the field, and then they want to learn how to do coding and then gather those results back to their central server, for example. And this is what they usually do. So let's look at the typical job description or JD, what we call from a corporate, right? This one is from DG, posted in JobStreet. Don't think anybody is strange this one, right? So software developer using Node.js, a JavaScript framework, is a desktop position focused on the web application development with JavaScript and Node.js to help DG to realize its ambitions to digitize its business and improve software delivery and operation. So this one is less on, I think, less on the product, less on the front-facing side, but is helping them to digitalize their business. So your core competencies need to know how to develop web applications with AngularJS. This is a front-end data binding framework, and then you need to know how to write back-end Node.js using Express.js framework. Oops, there's a typo here. Okay, and able to understand and debug large code bases, write unit tests, SQL, Git. Git is a version control system, and experience in AWS. All right, your responsibility take part in sprint planning and grooming. So sprint planning and grooming is a methodology, or it's a terminology, it's terms used in agile programming. Okay, and then writing readable code, writing features, unit tests, and write comments, provide recommendations to business stakeholders on deliverables and timeline, and then perform a DevOps role. So DevOps is more like development operations, including things like supporting remotely and then occasionally on-premise to solve problems, upload stuff to servers, etc., and providing support remotely when used rostered to be on standby. It's typical stuff, right? Typical stuff that you work in a corporate software development environment. So when nothing happens, your life is good. Yeah. So we work in a big company. It's very structured. You have all the systems, etc. Okay, it's typical corporates. Average software engineers, senior developers, programmers salary in Malaysia. This one is a survey. Okay, last updated a few days ago, right? Average pay for SE developer programmer is 83,000 per year. Yeah, pay scale. This website is not pay scale, so everything they calculated based on a yearly basis. But you can look at it, right? Salary highest can go to about 150,000. 150,000 is 10K. Yeah. So my students on average they make about 5 6K as soon as they have full stack development skills, and then of course it adds value to the company if you know how to do things like Git, devs, or AWS management skills, then you make more. But on average, you make about 5 6 thousand per month, and then you got a bit of bonus, profit sharings, and then even if you look at the lowest, right? I don't think software developers make that little. It probably some very small company for the people who take this survey. So the 37,000 is about 3 to 4 thousand per month. Yeah, software developer, especially senior developer, full stack, they don't make this little. Yeah, at least 4K and above. I can safely say that. And then if you work in a startup, it's a totally different environment. So let's look at Faith. Arguably, Faith is not really a startup anymore, but it's really a well-established company. But they still practice a lot of startup stuff, and their culture are still very startup-ish. So Southeast Asia fastest growing startup serve tens of thousands of offline businesses, millions of consumers, and leading O2O platform in the region. So you guys should have seen a lot of e-wallets nowadays, right? And then they're fighting everywhere. Touch and Go, Faith, Boost. Faith is just one of them. All right. So hustling a fast-paced environment. The characteristic of a startup company is of course fast-paced. Everything is fast and can be incredibly rewarding. Then they get unlimited access to everybody. They work in a very large office, open office plan, opportunities to learn, coffee, Wi-Fi, pool table, PS4, yeah, yada yada yada. I usually give talk in Faith office in Bangsa South. So not only Faith itself is there, but there are a couple of other tech companies is around there as well. So it's a very fun, vibrant place. And then you walk to the shopping centers, and then ADEX, one of the MDEC offices, is right opposite. Oh yeah, cannot call them Bangsa South anymore, right? It should be called what? Kampong Kerinci. Yeah. Okay. So we are now hiring software engineers to join their tech team in KL. So your responsibility is to write clean and efficient code, design robust features, follow best practice, TDD, Scrum. Okay, this is similar to those agile development that I told you before. It's just a methodology. Last time people used to do SDLC because you have to deploy you really have to go to customer side. Like myself last time, we have to literally copy those programs into Diskette and then go to their computers, copy, and no, we don't have paste last time. We just copy. I nearly say copy and paste, but no, we don't paste. We just copy the files from our Diskette to their machine, their PC. Good things, bad things is very inconvenient, very not efficient. But good things is we don't have any operating system issues to worry about. So it's usually MS-DOS, we just copy, and then the code will just run, hopefully. Right? You don't have to worry about screen resolution, etc. Everybody's using an 80/20 black and white screen. Right. So proven working experience in developing applications. Okay, here's a key part, right? Developing your knowledge on front-end technologies like JavaScript, HTML, CSS. This is an N, by the way. CSS and jQuery, yeah, JavaScript framework. Strong attention to details on every line of code, unit tests, commit message for Git, and comfortable with rapid development life cycles and tight schedules. So this is a characteristic of a startup company. If you begin a coding journey. So this company is called, or this website is called Angelis. Angelis got a lot of jobs that's related to startups. And so on the left-hand side, you look at the compensations, meaning their salary. So this is in US dollar, yeah, by the way. So in US, they pay about 50 to 60,000 per year just for full stack developer in startup. And then you will get equity, okay, equity from 0.25% to greater than 10%. But most of the time, unless you are an early co-founder, otherwise, you get about 0.5 or 1% to 2%, and it's vested across 3 years. you might be thinking like, oh, come on, Dr. Lau, 3% across 3 years, nonsense, right? It's just a joke. But you have to realize that how valuable is their shares, right? So like Facebook, Google, if you get their shares, it's like, oh, come on, it's I don't know how to describe how valuable it is. And in US they pay crazy type of salary. Like a couple of my students was in I think they were in New York, and then the other one was in, I think it's Canada. I think it's Ottawa. Yeah, or not Toronto. It should be Ottawa. And then he get paid about 7,000 Canadian dollars. Yeah, per month just as an intern. Okay, $7,000 just an intern. And so you can imagine how much more they pay for the full-time staff. And this is startup. So to make things more realistic, we can convert this into local currency. It's about ringgit. So ringgit, they pay about 3-4 thousand per month for a full stack developer. Okay, if you are not a co-founder, you can always ask for more, 6-7 thousand. As long as they are funded, they're more than happy to give you, and they'll give you a little bit of their equity as well. Similarly, 1 to 5% and invested across 2-3 years. Yeah, you can always check on those startup website or startup media like E27, Tech in Asia. Yeah, they cover a lot of stuff like this. Okay, so that's more on the startup jobs. And lastly, I think most of you are interested in working as a freelancer as well. So working as a freelancer, you can go to a website like freelancers.com, upwork.com to look for jobs, basically projects. So there are two types of jobs. There are short-term projects and also long-term jobs. So short-term projects is, for example, a very simple task. Create a website with a front end and back end. Very simple, quote your price, 250, that's about 1,000 ringgit, intermediate level. This one probably on the low end. Like, he's looking for someone to create a simple website for product. Front end, you'll be advertising product and allow the users to select a product, applying it using application. And on the back end, allow users to advertise their product and keep their data on product sales records and communicate with buyers. Yeah, typical image gallery, e-commerce-ish type of product. So HTML, HTML5, JavaScript, very essential. These are the things that you need. Okay, web design, web development. You don't really need design skill. I'll explain to you why later. And expert full stack developers needed part-time to handle our projects, HTML, WordPress, PHP, Laravel. CI stands for Code Igniter. Okay, we are looking for a part-time individual freelancer who can handle our project HTML, PHP, Code Igniter, Laravel. Long-term association, initially 3 to 4 hours per day is required. So very easy, right? You work about 3 to 4 hours, more than 30 hours per week, and then you expect to get more than 3 months. Different type of skill sets. And this is what a real full stack developer do. Bootstrap, Code Igniter, CSS, HTML, JavaScript, Laravel, SQL. You basically need to know a bit of everything. You don't need to be, you don't have to master everything at the beginning, but you really need to know what is what. Okay, and full stack developer rate around the world is about because now once again this if we're talking about full stack developers, you are competing against the world, right? So you can get jobs from anywhere, US, Taiwan, China, uh, anywhere, right? US, UK, you name it. So the freelancers that junior freelancers usually get about 40 to $80. Okay, and slightly experienced mid-level freelancers, they get about 80 to 120 per hour. Yeah, so your average hourly rate. And for senior developers, you get about 120 to 160 per hour. Okay, so here are the key differences. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the chat box, and then myself and Ruben will get back to you later. Okay. So if you were to become a full stack developer, what are the skills that you need? So number one, you need front end development skills. Okay, this is what you need. And basically, when we talk about front end, this is what it means. Front end stands for everything your user sees and interact. Because in all websites, right? Basically, front end is like your shop front. So everything that users are going to see is considered the front end. So the things that they see and then the things that they interact. And the good news is for whatever website that you are seeing on the internet today, whether is it eBay, Lazada, Facebook, Google, to the Lead.io, okay, to the coffee shop website, restaurant website, whatever, they are all built using the same language, HTML5, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, HTML mainly handle the structure of your website. CSS handles the look and feel of a website, colors, font size, borders, italic, underline, boldface. Those are what CSS does. And lastly, JavaScript handles the interaction, basically the logic of your front end. Okay, not the logic of your website or the business logic, but it handles the entire the logic of the entire website. So that's what it does. So once again, every single website that you see on the internet are built using these three languages for their front end. Okay, so uh, some of the front end are built with libraries and frameworks. So although we are using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, but behind the scene, they are actually written using some sort of framework to help us to speed up our developments, okay, or libraries. Meaning that a lot of things that we usually do together, we can combine it together and use a framework or libraries to help us to speed up our development work. So these are considered the four heavenly king in front-end development libraries. All right, Bootstrap is a CSS framework that help us to build responsive web development. Is a UI grid-based UI development toolkit. So when you need to develop a website and you want to make it looks good on uh, looks good on your desktop, your laptop, your TVs, and also your mobile phones, then you need to use Bootstrap. Okay, and React, Vue.js, and AngularJS are solving the same problem in their own ways. Basically, what they are solving is the data binding issue. So whenever you load the data on the database, from the database, you need to display them on the screen, right, on the user side. But you don't want to write code to display them every single time because sometimes you have a lot of data to be loaded. And secondly, you might have data that's coming in different speed. So sometimes, let's say you're building a dashboard, you might have the data from sales department, you might have data from the payment department, you might have data from yada yada, all the different departments. So you need to use different frameworks to facilitate these. And these three frameworks are the popular ones. So React is by Facebook, AngularJS by Google, and then Vue.js is by a group of independent individuals who are very much into front-end development. Okay, so you might be wondering as well, what is the difference between a library and framework? You mentioned, I talked about it a few times, right? So the key difference between a framework and a library is that if you look at your code, right, the green colored part, library is the part where your application code calls it. So when we write code, we call a library. Yeah. But when we have a framework, the framework actually is the one that that is calling us. Whenever we use a framework, we have to follow the syntax, the grammar, the best practices that we are using inside a framework. So a framework actually calls us. And on the other hand, you have to remember that, don't forget, framework sometimes also contain libraries because it's just a framework. So we can actually switch the syntax, the code that we want. Usually we don't switch the coding so much. Most of them, especially for web development, has to be based on JavaScript. Okay, so framework sometimes contains the library as well. So this is the difference between libraries and framework. Okay, you have to understand this. And next, we look at backend. So before we go into different type of backend programming languages and stuff, you need to understand one thing is the web architecture. So a lot of people, they don't understand is that in internet or web, everything that you see is handled by a server behind the scene. So for example, if you type google.com in your browser, it's actually go through a DNS server. And then in the DNS server, it translates google.com into an IP address, say 117.1.2.60. And then we use this IP address to contact the Google server in the US, or if you have translated to the Malaysian address, then it detects the location and serve us the content that's related to where we are, right? So it will also be routed to a server nearer to us, say Singapore or Sydney. And if you visit Lazada, then it will be hosted in Malaysia mainly, because each of them will have their own server farm and not just a single server. So what happens when we browse a web page is, when you enter google.com, it requests the information from the server at Google, and then it returns a generated web page or retrieves some data as response to our client. So this is a typical client-server architecture that we use in web technology. You might have heard of other things like distributed technology, peer-to-peer, etc. Those are not relevant in full-stack web development case. For example, P2P might be related to blockchain or BitTorrent, right? And then for Google's case, your request is a query string on the keyword or the things that you want to search. And then Facebook case will be a profile page that you want to see. And Airbnb will show you a list of house. But the architecture behind is exactly the same as what I've shown you here. Okay, so backend in short is everything behind the scene that you did not see and that you can't see. But this backend application actually powers your front end. It powers your entire web application as well, so that you are able to achieve whatever you want to achieve in the front end. So without back end, your front end will not be working, and without front end, you will not be able to handle any. Sorry, without back end, you wouldn't be able to handle any logics, and without front end, your users will not be able to see whatever happens behind the scene. Okay, this is the relationship. So in backend, we have a couple of different languages that we can choose from. So we have PHP, we have ASP.NET. So PHP is a very popular language that everybody, early web developers use, like Google, Facebook. A lot of the code are written in PHP. ASP.NET is by Microsoft, and you can use their programming language like C Sharp to use that. And then we have Node.js is a framework, a backend language in JavaScript, and you have Django is a web framework or backend framework uh, written by Python. Okay, so you can code using Python. So depending on your skill set as well. So we are more familiar with JavaScript, Python, ASP.NET, C Sharp, or PHP. All right, these are the major one. So the good things about picking a major or mainstream language is that a lot of people are hiring them in for work. So you have higher chance to get jobs, especially for PHP and JavaScript. ASP.NET is more on the enterprise. Okay, where we use Microsoft ecosystem, and then Django is for those people who are more familiar with Python. Okay. Any questions, feel free to leave it in the chat section below, and we'll come back to that later. All right. And next, we are going to talk about databases. So full stack developers need to know how to write programs to retrieve data from the databases. Of course, you don't have to be very familiar with SQL commands or SQL commands, but at least you need to be well versed in these sort of languages, so that you know how to pull data, how to write data, and how things work. Database is a place where we all store our data, especially MySQL and Microsoft SQL are the two most popular database engine for structured and relational data. And if you have a less rigid or require a flexible data format, sometimes we also use non-relational databases like MongoDB and Firebase. So MongoDB and Firebase, they store their documents in a document format. Okay, they store their data in the document format, so it does not require fixed tables to be defined. Unlike MySQL or Microsoft SQL, those that you have to define a table definition, columns and rows. But with MongoDB and Firebase, you don't have to. Right, you just have to dump the data into these databases in a document form, and then they will work. Yeah. So it's very good for less rigid or flexible data format. So you don't have to worry about changing requirements or updating your database structure from time to time. Okay. Now, once you figure out how to build your front end, how to build your back end, and how to set up your database to store data, to retrieve them, the next thing that you need to do is actually to host your web application or host your website. Right? This is like you're planning to run a physical shop. Right? You're opening a restaurant. You got all the chefs, you got all the signages, tables, and chairs, all set up nicely. All you need to do is to find a shop lot. So hosting is like your physical storage place where you keep all the stuff, right? So we have two types of hosting, which is shared hosting and cloud hosting. Shared hosting is like you rent a unit inside a shopping mall. The unit usually are smaller, all right? You can pay a lot more to get a bigger lot, but usually you rent a very small unit and all the basic features like electricity, internet, security, they're all provided, but you have less flexibility. So HostGator and GoDaddy are two international brands that people usually go to when they want to run a shared hosting. I recommend shared hosting if your web application is small or rather static or less dynamic. You don't have a lot of traffic and stuff. Then HostGator might be good because shared hosting is good because shared hosting you actually share it with a lot of people. So your resources of a server is shared among all the people who are on the server. So if you are co-locate with someone who have very high demand on the web server, then your website, the performance of your website might get affected. Now, on the other hand, cloud computing is like you run a shop lot on the main street. You have the flexibility, but you do need to sort out your own things like internet, company secretary, mailing address, electric bill, water bills, etc. So that's the purpose of using cloud hostings like AWS, a very famous name, GCP, Google Cloud Platform, Azure. So you can spend a bit of money like within 5 to 10 US dollar per month, you can get your own space, basically a virtual computers, but you have dedicated resources when they promise like okay 20 gigabyte of SSD with 1 terabyte of traffic and then with 2 gig of RAM, uh, X number of usually 1 or 2 cores for the machine, then you can use them. So the good thing about using cloud hosting is that you have all the freedoms to do whatever you want. So it will be exceptionally good if your website or web application requires a lot of different business logic, a lot of processing behind the scene, then cloud hosting will be a good choice for you. Okay. Now, one thing that I would like to specifically mention is the mobile application. So a lot of you are interested in building mobile applications to start with as well, right? So mobile application actually use the same architecture that we have for web application. In web or anything, right? And everything that you see is handled by the server behind the scene, sitting in the data center, like I mentioned earlier. So if you are building a mobile application, they are doing the same thing. So let's say you take out your phone and then you browse facebook.com. What does it do? It go through the servers, it go through your gateway to check what is www.facebook.com. And then from there, we check, okay, this is the IP address 60.123.212.10. And then from there, you return the results to the mobile devices. And this time now, you're not displaying it on your desktop, laptop, or whatever. You're actually displaying it on your mobile phone, or your iPads, and also your Apple Watch. Okay. So the architecture is exactly the same. And that's why I think it's so I wouldn't use the word powerful. It's a bit overrated, but it's so beautiful that everything works together in the same architecture. So you just code it on your server side, and then it can serve the content to a mobile device, uh, and also your normal big screens device, and all using the same architecture. I think it's a beautiful thing to see that. Okay, so when it comes to mobile devices, you have to take note of this is the mobile application stack. So a lot of people are aware that their iOS and Android, these two main operating systems for your mobile phones. But they are not aware that a lot of the apps that you use are not necessarily native applications. Okay, what is a native app is that you have to write twice. So if you want to build an app for Android, you have to write once in Android using Android Studio. And then if you were to write another one for iOS, then you have to get another group of people to write just for your Apple phones or iPad, etc. So you see this mostly in game or applications that require many of the native features, rendering, yeah, processing, etc. Right? But on the other hand, a lot of companies when they're short of money, right? They don't have enough resources to hire that many people, then they will build something called hybrid application. Hybrid application allows you to write the mobile application once. Okay, you can write once, but then it will run on both iOS and Android. So this is the beauty of it. The difference between a hybrid app and native app is that there is a native wrapper app in between, so that it wraps all the components that were mentioned earlier, and it renders it towards your operating system. So it detects if you're in uh, Android, then it renders the component in the Android style. If you're using iOS, then it renders the component using iOS style. Okay, so this helps you to save the budget and resources just by building once and able to use it in both. Now the last one is, so native app is your first choice if your budget allowed. Hybrid app is your second choice, and web app is no choice. Okay, so if you have no funding, you have limited resources, yeah, but you still need to allow users to use your website through their mobile devices, then you can consider building web applications. Okay, web applications, or you will see a lot of these terminologies like called PWA, progressive web application. But basically, it's just that your web browser, let's say Safari, Chrome, or Firefox, Opera, yeah, sits on top of your mobile phones, and then we use it to go to our URL and run application. Now, because HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are making a lot of improvements these days. So you actually use it quite smoothly on your mobile phones as well. So if your application are business application and it does not really require so much of computing power and resources, you can actually try web application as a start. So for example, you see a lot of the lead.io pages where we serve you the ads. We serve you the ads on Facebook, Instagram, all the different platforms, and most of you are actually watching those ads on mobile devices. So we have to make sure that our web application is optimized for mobile applications or mobile devices use. Okay, so let me quickly go through a full stack website to show you what is going on. Okay, so this is the original Airbnb website, and this is the Airbnb today. All right, so it makes a lot of improvement, it makes a lot of beautiful changes and stuff. But whatever you're seeing here, I still remember, I still coded using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Right, so I'm going to show you a booking site that we use it in our class. The building the Airbnb clone. So this is a booking site that we built. So you can enter your name, email address, date, and the number of days that you want to stay, and then you can submit it. So let me show you that. So this is what I call the Airbnb demo. So we have a header here, and then we allow us to enter our name, enter our email address, okay, enter the date that we are coming, and number of days that we are staying. So you can also pick the trip that you want, or where do you want to stay, right? This is just a very simple booking examples, and then you can submit. Yeah, you actually send the data to the server. So if we look at the source of this page, right, it's very simple. This is a HTML page where we use Bootstrap as our CSS and then jQuery as our JavaScript. And from here, we define a little bit of HTML text, right? Some HTML text using Bootstrap elements. So we follow the structure. We have a container, we have a row, and then inside every row, we have multiple columns. And then from here, we enter the content, and then we load the images, yada, yada, yada. And then when we click on the save button, it actually saves to Firebase. So this is the Firebase that we have. And then this is a bit of JavaScript that we use to handle when some of the items is clicked. And for this particular example, I hosted it on GitHub, okay, github.io or GitHub Pages. So this is an example of a full stack website. So you have front end, which is here. This is our front end, and it's built using Bootstrap. And then you have a back end. In this case, we don't have too much processing. So my back end is actually I submitted the data to our database server inside Firebase. So I have not go through the full extent, like let's say send you a reminding email or connecting to the servers for other type of processing. And then here is your sorry, and then what else? Oh yeah, and also the hosting. So hosting HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I use jQuery as the JavaScript, our JavaScript framework, and then I wrote a bit of the JavaScript here to handle whenever the item is clicked. Yeah, so it's just a backbone example of coding and what you can do with coding. And also we have a game called Rock Paper Scissors. This is a website that we use in data science 360 program to build a machine learning algorithms to test our rock paper scissors machine learning. So you can choose rock, and then AI will choose something else. Okay, so rock lost the paper, and then we pick scissors. Yeah, and then we pick scissors another time. Then AI managed to pick up that and then train their machine learning models to understand how we play. It's just another example. So this is built using HTML, and then the back end is some processing, the AI engine, HTML, JavaScript, and then CSS that you see here are using Bootstrap and Vue.js, and we host it on our own website, yeah, the lead.io. Okay, and I think it's built using JavaScript as well. The backend. Yep. Okay. So that's about it. Just a simple walkthrough. Okay. So how should you start? Right. I'm going to give you 3 simple tips that you can use it as to kickstart your coding journey. Right. To think about it whenever you want to start. Number 1 is the first thing you need to do. Learn how much a website costs. Okay, a lot of people they want about to learn the skills, but when they actually want to start a career, let's say if you want to work in corporate, you need to know the salary range, right? And if you want to work in startup, then you need to know what sort of price you need to nego and what sort of equity is considered good or bad skill. And then the next thing is when you work as a freelancer, all right, what's a freelancer? What should be the rate that you charge? I think this is the hardest for everybody. So give you a guideline, yeah. When you work as a freelancers website builders, uh, they usually charge about 0 to 300 ringgit, meaning that website builders are those things like Wix, yeah, okay, that you build your own website. So the price can be very low as long as you don't mind some watermark there. But if you really want something that has better experience, then you might need to pay a bit for their pro versions or using a bit more advanced tools. So the licensing or monthly subscription varies between 0 to 30 bucks per month, or if you're looking at a year, then it costs about 300 ringgit around there. And then freelancers, if you hire a freelancer, they cost somewhere between 500 to 5,000. Professional or full-time freelancers, they'll charge a lot more for building a website. Students or freelancers who are just starting their uh, beginning their career, they'll charge slightly lower because they want to penetrate the market. But my advice to you is, if you start as a freelancer, if you want to work as a freelancer, don't spoil the market, okay? Just go straight to the price that you think is reasonable. Because I have seen a lot of people, they undercharge. They charge too little. Let's say they charge 2,000 for a website. But then later on, the customers want to change the color, want to change the design, and then they feel shy to charge them more because you don't want to be seen as asking money all the time, etc. So it's better for you to charge high or reasonable at the very beginning to cover the cost. I have not seen a web design client that have no extra or additional requirements. Never, never, never. Okay, they will, ah yeah, I think of something that I need to add. Ah yeah, can you help me to move this to there? And moving a buttons, adding a columns in the web page is not as simple as it seems, okay? Yeah, so you have to take that into consideration. And then a web design agency, really, it depends, because you spend a lot of time meeting them, gathering your requirements. They need to hire graphic designers, they need to have an office, they, a lot of things, yeah, that cost them money. So they charge you at least 3,000 to 10,000, and they usually go by man hours. So every man hours costs you about, anywhere from 50 to 200 ringgit on average. Yeah, so that's what web design agency does. And then they probably brainstorm with you for those who charge a lot on your brand identity as well. Okay, so whether you're thinking about switching your career or you're thinking about hiring someone, this is a rough guideline. Okay, but there's a better way of doing this, which I think we should use a calculator to calculate it. So again, let me walk you through how to use this. This is called how much does a website cost. So this is a website. So go to this one. Don't worry, don't copy it down. Later on, you stay to the end. We'll give you the slide. So get started. How many marketing page will you need? How it works? Contact us, team. Da, 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 da. All right, I'm running lean, so let's just say 4 to 9 pages. Do you want to provide people with the login features, like login with Facebook, login with Google, login with Twitter, or at least a minimum like email? Okay, well, let's say I want email. Sorry, I want social media login. Do people create personal profiles? Like, do you want them to create their own profile so that they can use it to log in and browse their progress and stuff? As a start, probably not. That's a bit too advanced. Will you need to accept payments? Yes, maybe integrate with PayPal, MoPay, etc. People rate or review things. No, like, yeah, we're not really doing an e-commerce website. Does your website needs to connect with another app or website, like share data with a mobile application? Yes, I'm thinking long term. Does your website need search? No, probably I don't want to, provide any search functionality. Do you need a content management system like the CMS? Yes, definitely. All right, I'm not going to hard code and enter everything using my hand. All right, so your custom website costs about 17,000 to 21,000. Okay, yeah, show you the breakdown, all the things that we have selected before. And yeah, you can hire developers using this platform. But this gives you a rough idea, right? A custom website costs you about 22,000 on the high end. 22,000 to 100,000 ringgit. So that's around there. So give and take, we can double this number to get a feel, but it wouldn't cost you less than 20,000 if you were to hire someone decent to do the work, because it's quite a lot of work. And so I would say anywhere it ranges between 20,000 to 40,000, realistically speaking. All right, if you want to build a website like this, which has a CMS systems, and then it doesn't need search, but allow you to build as mobile web applications in the long run. Okay, and also at least contain about 4 to 9 marketing pages or static pages, accepting payments. But we haven't talked about people able to create profile or allowing search. If we add that thing in, I would say it's anywhere between 30 to 50,000 anytime. All right. So now you get a basic idea. So the first thing first, before you begin a web developer career, you need to have the numbers right. All right. So this is a common mistake that everyone made when they first started, because eventually you are losing money. Although you think that you are making money to make your customers happy, but the money that you make just cannot justify the work that you put in. Okay. Now, number two is learn how to find free and cheap resources. So there's a lot of free and cheap resources outside. When I say cheap, I don't mean cheapskate, okay? I mean cheap in terms of low cost. So for example, if you want to look for templates, okay, I think this is number one thing because my background is on coding, right? Software engineering. So my UX is good. I'm good with product design, product thinking, but when it comes to things like uh, colors, graphics, that sort of stuff. Yeah, those are the stuff that I'm terrible with. So I'm using external websites like Envato Elements. So it has a lot of templates, graphics for you to choose at a very low price. So we only pay about 20 or 30 per month. Okay, you can look at the pricing. So no, we're not looking for elements. Actually, I'm looking for something related to restaurant, right? I'm going to help a company to set up a restaurant website. So they have different types of graphic templates that you can use it, add banners, menus, and all the photos that you see here. You pay one price and then you get to use all these resources for free. Okay, and then they also have different type of web templates also. So if you're looking at websites, yeah, color theme, white color theme, mobile applications design, responsive one-page parallax. Let's say we look at this one. Okay, and also you have this type, yeah, very angmo, kualo-ish, very very atas type of restaurant. Yeah, we can look at it. Okay, so that's Envato elements. But if you don't like to pay and then if you just want something cheap or free, even you can look for free bootstrap templates here. Okay, you can look for free bootstrap templates and then go to startbootstrap.com. You can straight away see they're not that bad, but the quality just not there, right? So as a beginning, so if you want to practice or learn how to use, I think this is a good website to go to. It has all the different templates, whether it's an empty one or it filled with some dummy images here. You can straight away use them. It's not so bad, right? Yeah, it is decent, reasonable, and usable. Okay, also a different type of, and of course they have a premium version as well. Premium version means they're more atas. Yeah, but you can also look at them like, for example, you want this dashboard. So it's about 39 US dollars. So not so bad if I'm charging your clients, right? Your investment for this template is about 40. Yeah, it's just 160, 200 ringgit. You get a premium template, and you can still reuse this template for your other clients, especially for back end. Your customers wouldn't mind. You look at all the websites today, right? Those startup websites and stuff, they all look the same because they probably purchase from Envato elements or use the same templates. Okay, so free bootstrap templates, there's a lot, and also you can look for free stock photos. Yeah, you can check out free stock photos. My number one favorite will be Pixels and Unsplash. Okay, look at Pixels and Unsplash. So best free stock photos shared by talented photographs. So you can look at different things. So let's say you want to do a project that's related to Malaysia. Okay, there's a lot of beautiful Malaysia pictures here. So you even got stock photographs, real pictures. You don't have to buy those stock photographs from those expensive websites. Okay, and this one. So let's continue with our project. We want to do something related to restaurant. Okay, let's look at restaurant. You want beautiful stock photos here. Wow, everything. You see this also, you feel hungry already, right? This one's Korean food, Italian food, French food. Oh, this one. Wow, so nice. Right, and it's free. You just click download and then you can use it straight away. Yeah, so free stock photo, free templates, and paid templates, premium templates. These are probably the few things that need to get started. Of course, content you have to source out, write it yourself or get it from your clients. And there's another one here called Canva. Canva is good not only just for stock photo. Of course, it has a lot of stock photo, but I don't think you have. Let's do the restaurant. Okay, you have a lot of restaurant related images. Get hungry again. Otherwise, you can also create other stuff like For example, you don't have to pay for most of the things, right? Presentations, posters, Facebook cover, flyers. Oops, you see my face here. Blog banner, card, Twitter posts, etc. Okay, so there's a lot of free resources out there. Just I think sky is the limit, and probably your imagination. Okay, so that will be my second tips for you. Learn how to find free and cheap resources. Number three is the easiest slash the hardest. Number three is you need to build a side project. Now, when I teach data science, data scientist students when they started, they need a portfolio. They don't really need a website, but they need a portfolio so that when people search for data science keyword, when they go out and type in LinkedIn, Quora, or SEO, they are able to find you. So if you want to start your career as a web developer, you need a side project to show people that you are able to build a website from scratch, okay, not just from end to end, from scratch. You are able to create HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You are able to host it on the servers. You are able to connect to database to pull the data, display those data on the website. This is what you need to display. Okay, if you want to get a sorry, if you want to get a coding career started. Now, a lot of people will tell you that coding is not so much about building a website. Exactly. So what I want to correct your thinking is that you are building a web application. Facebook, Lazada, Google, they are not just website. Website is like a static website that show you some normal non-dynamic information. If you are building a web application that's able to take requests, handle the queries, um, make payments online, this is not a website. This is a web application. Okay, so with that, my question for you next is: do you want to pursue a coding career in web development? All right. So look at my students. For example, month five. Before this, he was just an iOS developer. So he was already a successful iOS developer focusing on app design, user experience, and user interface, or UI UX. But what he realized is that lacking full stack knowledge, making it very difficult for him to progress because he always have to ask the backend developers in the companies to help him to make changes to configure routes, writing APIs and queries to retrieve data from the database because he doesn't have any full stack knowledge. So this really stopped him down and sort of like hinders his career because many of the advanced features actually relying on server side and the data side, of course. Right? If you look at a mobile application, let's say Facebook, is a lot on pulling data, displaying data, writing data, posting stuff, and not just with the app front end or some buttons or clickings and stuff like that. So after picking up the full stack skill sets, he's now able to progress and build advanced mobile applications. So you have two options here after the webinar today, right? I tried my best to give you as much information, as much value, and share with the staff that I can. The problem here is you still need to learn and practice on your own, right? And your first option is to continue to do this alone, spend thousands of hours trying to look for free tutorials online, yeah, get some ebooks and watch some videos and get things done without any support. And after 3 to 5 years of doing this, you'll become a developer and start a coding career for sure. But then you wasted 3 to 5 hours of your time, money, and of course your life. If you're somebody who are committed to success and you don't want to pull your hair while checking tutorials, why it's not working or is that the latest version, then you probably can learn from a proven system for developing full stack applications. Now, from someone like ourselves who has not been there, done it, and we are currently still practicing it, right? So learn from my proven step-by-step system. That's how I learn and build. You and I have helped many startup entrepreneurs, engineers, university lecturers. I train them and make sure that they are able to do whatever we're doing. Okay, so all the stuff that I'm teaching here does not require special machines or software. You just need a normal laptop and you're on your good ways to build a full stack application. You don't need to set up expensive servers or pulling your hair anymore. For that reason, we design and offer this program called Full Stack 360. It's a hybrid program that contains physical class, video class, and mentorship that guides and help you. You don't have to figure everything out on your own or spend years to build out the basics, right? You don't have to try and error anymore or figuring out what are the right tools to use, because you are going to progress your career, look for a new job by building your own startup or becoming a freelancer through this program. That's why we call it a complete certification program for people who wants to create full stack web applications. Okay. Now remember I mentioned earlier, you're not here to build a website, yeah? You're here to learn how to build a full-scale web applications. So this is what it is, right? In 8 weeks' time, you're going to learn all the skills and tools to manage your careers and full-stack web programming. So why I call it a 360 degree or 360 program, because we will cover all the aspects that you need to know how to build a full stack application. So it will be at Sovo 9 to 5 with 4 days physical class, and you're going to be mentored and trained by myself professionally and personally. Let's look at the modules very quickly. Yeah. So module 1, we're going to teach you how to set up your workspace, install the necessary tools. More importantly, I'm going to teach you how to structure your website using HTML, CSS, and continue to module 2 about JavaScript using jQuery to build interactions and building responsive website using Bootstrap. So the key concept about HTML, CSS, JavaScript with the two major frameworks, jQuery and Bootstrap, will be covered in module 1 and module 2. When it comes to module 3 and 4, I'm going to cover backend development using Node.js. So we focus a lot on JavaScript in this particular class because it is still one of the most popular language and one of the oldest language that is used since we have web browsers. Okay, so and in module 4, we're going to teach you how to create front-end components using Vue.js and how to build single-page applications by doing two-way data mining and event handling. So once we move on to next part, I'll teach you how to retrieve data and store data using Firebase and runs all the operations, which is CRUD operation, how you create, how you retrieve, how you update and delete data on Firebase. And of course, we need to learn how to link your web application with Firebase so that they can work together. And module 6 will teach you how to implement different types of routes as well. Now, what does routing means is, if you look at, let's say Facebook, right? You go to facebook.com, you see that www.facebook.com/your name or /your page name. Those are not static routes. Those are dynamic routes. And those are created using RESTful architectures and custom routes that we wrote for you. And you learn how to create API endpoints. API endpoints is the important thing in web development because it actually helps you to allow your website to be used by other websites, or you can use it in mobile applications as well. So that is what API endpoints are for. Module 7, Module 8, we're going to learn authentication, how to secure our website, and how to send email from our applications using SendGrid. And then lastly, you will learn how to understand the domain, DNS configurations, learn how is it to register your own domain name. You can choose to do that or not, right? To register a domain name in .com costs you about 30 ringgit per year. But if you don't want to do that, we have the options for you to deploy your application to cloud. We are AWS Educate and DigitalOcean partner, so you get to practice using the real cloud platform, okay, for free. Yeah, it's all included in the cost. So the training modules include HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, all the front end and also the back end languages that you need to know. Okay, the total value of all these things, if you learn separately, is already going to cost you more than 2,000 ringgit. Remember, these are the tools that you learn which are used in Facebook, Google, eBay, and famous brands that you have heard, Lazada, Airbnb, and Grab. And what is different here is they are building a much more complicated application at a much larger scale, meaning that they're complex because they have a lot of components. They have product listings, they have customer relationship, yada. But you are going to be focused on a part of the applications where you can extend it further later on. Okay, now remember, look at the very first version of Facebook and how it looks like now. Everybody has to start somewhere, right? You can't just keep waiting, waiting, and waiting for something to happen. Or rather, you start to learn something today and start to build your own web applications next. So let's look at what is the format of the physical class. So it will be 4 days trainings in March, okay, 9 to 5, 23, 24, 30th, 31st, 9 to 5 at Sobo Petaling Jaya. We'll have a group hackathon at day 4 so that you will focus, really focus into building your web application and trained and mentored by myself personally with experienced industry mentor. And this time around, I'm very happy to have Edmund to help me again. Edmund usually is our instructor in data science programs like Python programming, especially. But he is also a very experienced full stack developer. Before this, he works in the F&B startup and also I would say personal safety startup. Watch over me. So it's very famous in Malaysia. You can look about it. And he's very well versed in enterprise language from Java to software development like Python and also Node.js. Okay, so we're very happy to have him. And in day 4, he will actually mentor together with myself, help you all to get your application up and running. A lot of the students' feedback, especially for the recent batches, they say that the group hackathon at day 4 helps them a lot because they really get to focus. A lot of time, other type of classes, they are just teaching, and then you do a lot of lab exercise. Is good if when they try to deliver as much as you can. But I think group hackathon at the day 4, it fast track the entire thing and helps you to speed up your learning process. So, and with that, we're going to teach you how to implement the full stack blueprint. Okay, so we'll guide you through and mentor you through the entire blueprint and how to piece everything together. You probably heard of something like backend, front end after I mentioned it, right? But how do you actually put these pieces together like a Lego, right? You need to assemble them. And this is what you're going to learn in this course. Okay? And you might be wondering what we're building this time, right? What is the learning outcome? So what you have learned during the class, you have been learning how to build a content management system, or what we call a CMS. CMS basically is like something like a WordPress, but very zoom in and lean version that you learn how to write posts. Okay, you don't learn how to do the writing, of course, but you learn how to write posts in the data into the server, retrieve it so that you can display it using a template. Okay, we'll teach you how to plug and play inside the template. And also you will learn how to display images, render them dynamically so that you don't have to manually go and change those things every time, and how to load data, how to display data, etc. Okay, you'll learn how to build a content management system in this program. So like what Reno says, he's happy to learn how full stack works. So he's like he got a fish rod here now, and then he know how to fish. And other online coding training videos start to make sense because previously he just like you all, right? He watched YouTube's, he goes to Udemy, bought a lot of courses, but lacking hands-on exercises and without the guidance and support from the mentor, I think that makes a lot of difference because you really need to get those hands-on and really write the codes and application yourself. I would say it's like you can watch 100 hours of swimming videos or swimming tutorials, cooking tutorials on YouTube, but eventually you really need somebody to stand beside you, look at how you swim, look at how you cook, and correct your mistakes. Right? I think that's the difference. So the physical class here is a 4 days physical class, uh, 9 to 5 at PJ, and guided workshop to build a CMS, yada. And most important thing, how to implement the full stack blueprint. So it's going to worth more than 3,800 ringgits already. And also, we are going to give you the online videos of all the key concepts here. So what happens is that a lot of time when you learn online, you realize that you are lacking the physical hands-on, right? But now with physical hands-on, sometimes when you go back, you can't remember everything. You might forgot a bit of things here and there. So this is what we do. We give you the solution here with the online video together with the physical class. Right? As a Chinese, I understand that we are often too shy to ask questions. Right? Asian mentality, I understand. Paiseh to ask. People might think that these questions. Ayo, why you don't know this question? Alamak. And some of you just learn at different pace. So we also provide online videos recording so that you can watch the videos few more times to refresh your memory, and you're able to pick up eventually, right, by combining online videos and physical class together. So what I really like it is that after this program you'll get a kickstart with a clear blueprint that guides you through your full stack journey, and you will learn how to build a full-scale web applications that you can modify into other applications. So for example, if you are working in the company, you can use it as a base to modify as a project. If you're in a startup, you can modify it for other web applications. And if you're freelancing, feel free to use it as a template to start. So it's a very flexible templates that we're not just CMS is just one of the use cases that we're going to apply in our course. And most importantly is you will get an upgrade to your current skill sets and prepare yourself for the data technology era, right? We've been talking about data science, data is a new oil, AI and stuff. But whatever is behind that is actually all these codes that is powering them, right? So I will make sure that you learn how to self-learn after the program so that you know how to find the right resources, identify the key topics, and know more about your directions. Eventually you might not want to be a web developer forever, right? But you still want to be a part of, like, let's say, back-end engineers. Okay, you just want to develop the applications or to work on the data science stuff, or you want to use it to build your startup, and then you want to take it to a higher level, or you just want to be the CTO. So everything is possible, but you need to know the right things and have the right fundamental knowledge and concepts to start with. Okay. So, what is in the program? With 4 days physical class, online video trainings, course material, and your source codes for everything, where you're getting the value that's more than 7,000 already. So, whoever that's completed this course, oops, sorry, I got it. You will also get a certificate of achievement. Okay, upon completion of this program, you'll receive a certificate of completion. And this course for tonight, we're going out for the public sign up. So you can sign up tonight for 3,899 ringgit. And we're going to offer a couple of bonus for you, okay, for this program. Now, first of all, for now that you have attended my webinar, you know, right? The very good things about whatever we give out here is the private support group. Now think about it, right? How many times when you look at a line of code, you actually struggle how people actually come up with it and don't really understand it because it's not commented. So, or you look at a piece of code that you write, you follow the online tutorial, but it's totally different things, right? Or like the lab practicals during a class, then after a while, when you really need to use it, you forgot the important steps. Okay, I got you. And that's what the private support group is for. So inside the support group of our mentors, including myself, Edmund, and you also get a network of alumni who are also full stack developers, digital marketers, startup founders, data scientists, AI engineers, etc. They're all from a different technical background from wide range of industry. Yeah, they got finance, they got banking, they got medicals. Some work in a startup, and you're surrounded by entrepreneurs and startup founders. So not just they're able to help you with technical questions, but they're also able to help you with job seeks and also interviews. So for example, one of these students, Lenny, he faced a problem while trying to complete his lab 3 question. He dropped me a message, so I give him to the right support that he needed. So other than myself, our mentor Edmund will be there to help you as well. I think the good things from here and what a lot of other students telling us is this saves them a lot of time from Googling. Okay. Whenever you ask something, let's say in your work environment, you ask your colleague, you say, oh, you don't know how to Google me? Right? But Googling takes time and it requires you to try and error, try out different code, or sometimes they require you to read the documentation. Even copy paste from Stack Overflow also requires some skills, right? So the best thing is always, like I say, always ask us. It'll be much easier. So even with that, we also have a Facebook discussion group for those who need a threaded version of discussion, meaning that, for example, Keith asks, he can't remember what time we do this and that, and then we go through a discussion about different things, different database technologies here. So yeah, we support messaging and also Facebook support. Okay, we have two groups here. And the second bonus is we're going to give you is a lifetime warranty. So many of you might worry about, like all the programs out there. After the program, if I have questions, what should I do? Right? You might be thinking like, oh, you need to come back for a refreshers, or you need to come back to check the updates, because you see IT web development move very fast. Today we're probably using version 3 or version 8 of Node.js, and then tomorrow you're probably using 9 and 10 already. Things are moving very quickly. So what we are going to provide you here is a lifetime warranty, because like I always say, the end of the class is the beginning of your career, right? So with the lifetime warranty, what we are going to provide is you have lifetime warranty for the refreshers. So meaning that at any time you want to come back, okay, you want to come back to the class, you just have to send myself or Ruben an email saying that, hey, Dr. Lau or Ruben, I'm going to come back for the course to refresh my knowledge. Da, 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 da. When is the next class? And then yeah, we'll keep a spot for you. Okay, you can come back for refreshers at no cost at all. A lot of our other students have already take advantage of this lifetime warranty, and then they come back, they refresh their memory, and they make better product at their work. And also you receive lifetime updates on the courses. Like I said, today when you learn this, we are using Bootstrap 4, right? Next month, next year, it might be upgraded to version 4.1, version 4.5, version 5. So we will update our courses, our content accordingly. And you don't have to pay for it. Okay, you just go back to the online class website. You will straight away be able to log in and see the latest course updates. Okay, at no charges. And you will also receive your private support subscription to the Slack channel and also the Facebook group. Okay, at no cost at all. So lifetime warranty for these three things. And next round onwards, we will start to charge for we'll start to charge support subscription on a on a monthly basis or yearly basis, because there are too many people joining for this program already. So just a heads up, this will be the last time that we offer lifetime private support subscription. All right. Now, I mentioned earlier that this is a webinar, and I usually give out a special webinar offer at the end of my presentation. So this is what you're going to get tonight. Okay, the first 5% who sign up for this class through the webinar tonight, you'll get a special course from me, which is the guide to getting hired without a cert. Basically, what I will do in this program is I'll go through 20 interviews questions that people ask when they hire software engineers and developers. I will give you the solutions, how to answer these questions, and also how to prepare yourself for this sort of technical coding interviews. All right. I think this is a quite is something that's rarely mentioned in Malaysia work environment. So it will be very, very useful for you to get to learn how to uh, tackle and ace those interviews. All right. So to wrap things up, this will be before we go into our Q&A. This is our full stack 360 certification. It's a 4-day class, 9 to 5 at Petaling Jaya. You get trained and mentored by myself personally, together with Edmund, very experienced industry expert. And we have online videos, source code, private support group, and lifetime warranty. All right, total value that's over 15,000 tonight. Sign up now for 3899, and we have 5 webinar specials only for tonight. So Ruben will help to paste the link here so that you can sign up using the special link, so you will know where it come from. Okay, so Ruben, you ready? Let's go for the Q&A, and I'm happy to answer questions for you.
Okay, so thanks again, Dr. Lau. Now, before we go back to the Q&A, I'm just going to quickly paste down the link on YouTube live because we had a quick breakdown on the webinar system. So I've just pasted the special link on YouTube live, and I'm going to do the same here on the webinar system, and it's going to stay in right now. All right. Push up the post, and this will be great if you are looking to join us at Full Stack 360. Now, using this link here, we will actually know that you came from the webinar, and once registered, I'll be able to add you into the learning platform where you can start immediately tonight itself, and I'll be able to give you all your bonuses as well. Okay, so from this now, we see that we only have one. I think we have one question. I might miss some questions throughout the whole webinar, but let's get this answered for now. Okay, I'm going to paste it down on the screen. Okay, so Alpha asks, when does the coder start building data analytics structure of processes?
Hey, Ruben, where do you paste it? Do you paste it in the webinar site or YouTube site?
Dr. Lau, are you there? You muted the.
Yes, I'm here. I think, yeah, so something.
All right, okay. So the question I just posted up in, I can put it up in YouTube Live as well. This is asked by Alpha. So when does the coder start on building data analytics?
Processes, as in building up your knowledge or building up your the structure. Okay, so I try to understand is data analytics structures or processes. Let's say I think you are asking more on the application side, right? So when you are building applications or web application, when do you actually start to build the DA, data analytics structure and processes? So I usually recommend students to start building those things since day one, because it's not hard to build something like Google Analytics, for example. So you monitor them, make sure that every single page is able to collect data correctly, successfully since the very beginning. Of course, those data that when you collect during your starting phase are probably a bit noisy and gibberish, right? Gibberish meaning that it's just garbage. But at least you're sure that your data is being collected. So make sure that you filter out your local IP address, and we'll browse the website. So GA or Google Analytics, Facebook pixels are able to give you the most accurate results. And on your own, probably you need to start to look at different things to track your users as well, different type of cookies and mechanism that's there to help us to facilitate that. So I would suggest you start to build on those data analytics structures since day one. Processes and analytics stuff, you can leave it to the later on. Yeah, you don't have to start analyzing them immediately, but you have to have that in mind and start collecting data and make sure that those architectures those design are inside your architecture already since day one, so you know where to collect data. When you have 5 users, 500 users, and 5,000 users, your data collection pipeline and data storage is going to be a lot different, because you are not going to mix all the production data together with your analytics data, for example. So that's something that you need to take note as well. Okay, but the actual analytic process can start later when you have actual data. That's okay.
Okay. All right. So, guys, if you have questions, you can always put down in the question below, and I'll be able to get them answered by Dr. Lau. One thing that I'd like to actually ask Dr. Lau here, it is covered in the webinar, I'm not sure. But the question is, right, what's the difference between a coder and a programmer? And if I can choose between one of them, right, what should I choose, coding or programming?
Very good question, Ruben. If I were to say you must choose programming, okay, there are four levels of I would say coding slash development. So the very first level is coding, meaning that you learn how to write code, you learn how to read codes, and that's very basic level. And that's like you learn how to read in English. Okay, you learn a bit of vocabs, and then you're probably able to form a proper sentence. Yeah, so that's on the coding level. But as soon as you learn programming, you're going to be totally different, because a program is actually something that's functional, and you use it to achieve certain tasks. So I can write a program that helps me to scrape all the news from Google every morning, 8 o'clock, for example. Right, that is a program. It's no longer just code. So if you were to choose between a coder and a programmer, you should always start as a programmer, because you see things in a more structured way, and then you know the outcome. You know what you want, and then how you use a program to solve the problems or the issues that you want to tackle. And once you are comfortable with program, that's like writing a paragraph or a few sentences in English, then you can move on to build an application. So you are now able to write an application that's complete, that has more features like user login, pages, and then you're able to set that up as an application that allows more people to use it together, right? And finally, when you have a lot of applications together, you are able to integrate them into a complete system. Like Airbnb is not just a web application anymore, but it's a complete booking systems where you have products, you have listings, you have customer relationship, yada yada yada. So it's a uh, complete system that you can use. So we go from coders, programmers, applications developers, and system engineer. All right. So this is the four stages of programming, of programmer's life.
Hey, that's good. Now, before we go on to the next question, right? Right, I've just pasted the link down here in the webinar system on the right-hand side corner. And when you join that link, right, when you register, it's a direct link, by the way. So we are actually bypassing the whole landing page itself and going direct. So once you register to Full Stack 360 using that link, I will be able to pinpoint that you came from this webinar here and be able to give you your bonuses, which is those bonuses that are being offered by Dr. Lau, right? Within the support and also the template, the guide that Dr. Lau is giving out. So once you register for the link itself, you can actually join and opt into the learning platform itself. I'll invite you into the Slack group itself, where you can actually communicate with all the other students, the alumni, and also all the instructors, including myself. Okay. So the link is there. Use that link, use that special link to register. Don't use the normal link on the landing page, because I will be able to track that you came from the landing page. So use that special link, register for that, and we'll see you inside Full Stack 360. All right, it's going to be an exciting program that we are giving out to for the past few months. Okay, so now the next question I want to ask Dr. Lau here, right, is if I starting to program, right? So you said that we are, it's better to go be a programmer and to learn how to program, because to build applications as a programmer. Now, as a programmer, let's say I'm just starting out, I have no technical knowledge at all. Which language should I focus first? Like really, which language should I focus down first? Like learn the first language first on my computer.
Okay, so when you don't have programming knowledge, or you don't have technical knowledge, you actually need to know what is programming, right? And you want to choose a language that is friendly enough, that's easier for you to get on. And ideally, this language that you pick should have a positive effect in the long run, meaning that it's help you to get job, help you to build applications. Now, even eventually you become a CTO or a tech lead in a company, you're able to manage those people who ideally also using similar language. So with that, I think JavaScript is your best bet to start. For one reason, JavaScript is a very user-friendly language, but it's also the only language that is used in front end and back end. meaning we use JavaScript in HTML, CSS, or the front-end development, but we also use JavaScript in backend using Node.js. So by learning one language, you are able to code in both front-end and backend. So I think this gives you the best ROI to start with. And JavaScript is one of the language that has the most user in the world. And a lot of us, when we write programs in JavaScript, eventually this program can be used in different places. Remember, IoT devices, televisions, and next time you can use it to program your microwave, your fridge, just using Open API and written in JavaScript. So the potential and the opportunities are limitless.
Okay, thanks for the answer, Dr. Lau. Now, before we go to the next question, I'm sure a lot of you are to see what is full stack 360 all about. You want to read through the whole full stack 360, what's inside, who's going to finish, refresh again, what's going to be covered, and everything else. I'm going to take you down the link to full stack 360 on this webinar here and also on the YouTube Live in case you are on YouTube Live and you missed it, all right? So I'm going to take this both on both platforms. So you can actually go and refer to Fullstack 360, look up on some testimonials. In fact, if today you Google Fullstack 360 Meet or Fullstack 360 Malaysia, you probably come out with, you can find Fullstack 360, plus a few testimonials from some students who have gone through the program itself and see what they have to say. All right. But at this point, I'd like you to think about the value of full stack 360. Once you finish, go through full stack 360 and complete the whole course, imagine the things you can do by the end of the whole course, right? You can go on to, to be hired at company of the dream company, you can go on to do some freelancing on the side, you can go on to build your own website, and then there's a lot of things you can do when you have the knowledge to code or to program, all right? And we should program, not code actually. Okay, so that's the link that you can refer to. But if you are over to register for Full Stack 360 Day, now use that special link so you'll be able to get your bonuses. I've already pasted the special link in the chat section. But in case you miss those special links, let me know and I'll be able to help you with that. Okay, so what's the next question? The next question I want to ask Dr. Lau is, now when it comes to programming, right, doing web programming, now let's talk about software. What kind of software should we use when it comes to programming? Do you have any recommendations for the types of text editors or anything you have to advise when choosing that type of editor?
So text editors, you're right, Ruben. Text editors are the main thing that we use, but there are so many text editors out there like Visual Studio Code, Sublime, Notepad++. Don't use Notepad anyway if you're on Windows, okay? At least use Notepad++. And then you have Atoms, you have Brackets, you have all sort of different text editors out there. So they all serve the very same purpose for us to edit our source code. So each of them, they have their own supporters and fans. And I personally like to use Visual Studio Code because it has a lot of plugins and then it supports Git. Okay, meaning that when we write codes using Visual Studio Code, we can straight away push it to GitHub or download the updated changes, etc., to GitHub directly. So it suits you even if you're working in as an individual or you're working in a team environment. So my personal choice will be using Visual Studio Code, VS Code.
VS Code, yeah?
Yeah, Visual Studio Code. And also for those who are planning to start your career in a career in coding and programming, right? I will also recommend them to use some terminal applications like iTerm, ITERM, meaning interactive terminal. Or if you're using Windows, you can look for something called CMDER, CMDER. These two terminal or console comes with a lot of goodies and functions, command line things. There are too many of them that I can't even name one by one. So I will leave it to you to explore. But the key here is make sure that you are familiar with working in environment that has no user interface. So prepare to type everything, right? And this actually gives you more consistent results so that you can turn everything into scripts file and you can get it to run consistently, automatically even.
Hey, right, thanks for the answer again, Dr. Lau. Now, when it comes to learning full stack programming, right, you advise us to actually do the front end and also the back end of programming.
Yeah.
But when it comes to specialization, should we actually eventually specialize into a full stack, I mean a front end developer and a back end developer, or do you think the way in the future is to become definitely a full stack developer?
I think for let's talk about Lead's case. Whether is it in digital marketing, is it data scientist? Although in digital marketing and data science, we don't really promote the terms like full stack data scientist or full stack digital marketers. Although this term exists too, right? But we always like our students to be jack of all trades, master of some, because you don't have to master both front end and back end and database and DevOps. So if we were to slice it, we would usually slice it between full stack, back end, front end, database, and DevOps. Right? These are the four pillars that I mentioned earlier. So focusing on full front end, focusing on front end will give you the advantage of if you are working a lot closely with UI UX designer. So that could be one of your potential career path. And working as a back end person, you could eventually become an engineer, software engineers, or DevOps engineers, or even like our students, site reliability engineers, new jobs in full stack development, SRE. So you're less concerned about front end, because front end you always have to care about, why is your website not working in this browser? Why when I open it in Internet Explorer, it looks different, that sort of stuff, right? Backend engineers always focus on the speed, on the reliability, where people don't get hacked or unauthorized requests. So this is how I see between front end and back end. I think Ruben is right. Eventually, you will have to pick the place where you prefer more. So if you're more on a UI person, graphic person, and you love to work with users, understand how to help them to make things better, go for the front end route. And if you are someone who likes to make sure that the program is working fine and at the optimized speed, then you are probably more a back end person. But either path that you choose, make sure that you understand the other party well, so that when you are working in the team environment, you are able to communicate with each other.
Remind you guys, right, to if you're registering for Full Stack 360, use a special link and we'll be able to trickle in with the bonuses, get you into the learning platform tonight itself, where you can start tonight itself, right? Go through all the lessons, and then once the physical dates for the classes draws near, you'll be somehow prepped for the physical classes, and then you'll be able to follow through very quickly with the class itself. But again, one of the most valuable things in Full Stack 360 would be the support group, because whenever you build your tech startup or your websites at a later date, and you would actually eventually hit into roadblocks or road bumps. And what's going to happen is you can always have a team behind you, a support team, right, filled with instructors, the manpower, the alumni, and students who will be there to help you at just a single notice, right? Just put in a question in Slack, and someone will always reply within the next minute or so, because we're always there. Okay, now the next question I want to ask, and it's probably my last question for the night, is, now let's say I'm a WordPress developer, or I'm a business owner, and I build most of my sites on WordPress because I somehow, I do not know how to code sites. So I use the fastest way, and I use the most popular CMS, right, content management system throughout the market, which is WordPress. So let's say I develop on WordPress and I build a few websites on WordPress. Now, how would learning full stack add to my experience as a WordPress developer? Will it help me in my path of building sites on WordPress, and how will it help me?
Okay, so when it comes to WordPress, right, the key things that our students always ask us, or they always tell us, is that um, they, whenever there's a changes, all right, whenever there's updates, they don't really understand how to do, or everything that they do might accidentally break it, right? They might break their entire website just because they press the update button. The second thing is, when it comes to customization, let's say they bought a plugin, they bought an extension, they install it, and then sometimes some of the things are not working. Let's say your WooCommerce, you want to customize the form, so you need to learn how to hide some of the stuff. And also, if you need to modify some of the layout, you need the knowledge of HTML. So when you learn this course, or when you learn full stack development, what is going to help you is that you are able to understand all the HTML, CSS, and PHP code in your WordPress, so that if minor things happen, you know how to tackle them, or at least we need to roll back to the previous stage. You understand what is going on, right? And you also know how to make some simple configurations on the PHP page. That's one thing. And then second and third is your HTML and CSS knowledge is going to be very helpful for you when it comes to customizing the website, right? So you learn how to write different HTML tags, and you also know how to read the documentations that those plugins or extensions provider given to you, so that you are able to follow the instructions properly to customize your WordPress site as well.
Hey, thank you for the answer, Dr. Lau. So I hope that few questions help all of you here to answer the questions here, and also if you didn't ask those questions, it helped you answer your invincible questions. All right. So I think we come to the end of the webinar, right? And now before we go off, right, I'd like to actually let you know that we actually have a public group on Lead. It's called the Lead Knowledge Circle, and that's where we actually allow everyone, including the public, to come in together. And this is where you can ask questions. This is where you can communicate and also share ideas with a community that you're trying to build on Facebook. Okay, I'm going to paste this link here where you can request to join a group, and in no time after we actually put you inside the group. Okay, so take this group as somewhere we actually share ideas, we share daily tips, and also plans and guides to actually tackle the tech industry. Now, before we go on from this webinar, now, Dr. do you have anything else to say before we go on with the last final advice to our listeners who are still here with us today?
Yes, and thank you everyone for staying till now, and sorry for the technical glitches that happened previously. Like Ruben said, I hope everyone's learned something tonight. And most important thing is, I think the future is all about the future is always about technology. Okay, ever since the first industrial revolutions until now, we're in the IR 4.0. It's all about using technologies to help us to make our life better, to make things more convenient, and makes everything easier and simpler. Okay, so what you really need to do now is to take the first steps. All right, whether you start to learn HTML, CSS, or JavaScript, doesn't matter. You don't get overwhelmed. All right, learn HTML first, and then once you understand how to use it, and then go to CSS, and then go to JavaScript, and then go to Backend, and extend your knowledge, expand your knowledge from there. And myself, Ruben, and the lead and the entire tech community in Malaysia, we're here to help you and support everyone who are interested to venture into a technology career to grow, and we all grow and support each other together. All right, so my final words: start building something today. All right, don't hesitate, and then I'll see you in the next webinar.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Lau. So with that, we'll end the session here today. So for those of you who are still thinking on the fence to join Fullstack 360, now Dr. Lau advised us to echo on that. Go out and do something today, because we don't learn anything by observing and reading, but we actually learn something by creating. Okay, so create something, build something today, and to fast track your success, join us at Fullstack 360, where we will share all the practical lessons, real industry cases, and those lessons, those guidance, and those support that you see inside Fullstack 360 will help you get your goal faster than you can ever imagine. All right, with that, thank you again for joining us in this webinar, in the how to become a coder webinar today, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you again, and good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.